good evening, this Sunday evening. Welcome. Blessings, kudos for stopping this way and for continuing with me for a little while, a short while. I would like to Excuerdo a bit more to my many posts and tweets on the subject of Langue Pro Forma. There is such a thing as the law of the long. It's the original law that the Creator gave the world. It governs and underpins everything. There is no kingdom that can rule over other kingdoms and become an empire without Langue Pro Forma. Langue Pro Forma must be granted if it isn't initially there for that to happen. It must always be a possibility. No nation can do anything without Langue Pro Forma. And each area of the world, there are 5 continents in this world. Kyalo, headed by Kyalo 2TC, that is Masra, Egypt, followed by the Middle East, which starts with the Kingdom of Judah, that today called the nation state of Israel. And after them is Asia, which is China, and all the countries of Asia, which includes Australasia, which includes Polynesia. Then after Asia, the last original kingdom of Asia is India. After Asia comes Europe, headed by Russia. After Europe, which doesn't end with England or even Northern Ireland, it actually ends at Kyalo T, known today as the Republic of Ireland. And after Europe, it is the Americas, which starts at what is now known as the United States of America. It's Kyalo Re originally. And Amma, the people of Re, America. It's not a European word. Really, it's an old native word. America. And each kingdom is Langue Pro Forma within. So there's the original capital city, always located within the southeast of that original kingdom. So the original kingdom of Kyalo 2TC, Egypt, Masra is Aswan. And the people of Tu, the pharaohs, they moved the capital many times. Most famously, it's Alexandria, although now the capital is Cairo, but originally it's wherever the people live, the capital city is, original capital city rather, is Aswan. In England, it's London. It really is London. And the capital city natives are identifiable by their beginning, just the beginning of their national insurance number. The end of a national insurance number tells you where you fit within the borough or the dukedom of your original capital city, if you're a capital city native. And not everybody who's born and brought up in an original capital city, such as Aswan or London, is capital city, or they may be, even if they are, they may not be of another kingdom, of another nation. Kyalo is 18 original kingdoms, just 18, headed by Egypt. So you can always identify an original capital city person, native descent by blood, by the beginning of the national insurance number. If it begins RE is the royal family of Kyalo 2TC, and Mummy Cleopatra VII, Theophilopita, born 69 BC, 5th of January, is RE. She's native Egyptian, as are all her ancestors, because the inheriting ruling class of Kyalo 2TC book, especially, are until sometime in AD, they're omelette. That's what they're called, as I've said before, but they're the omelette. The people inherit the throne or can inherit a dukedom. In their time, in Mummy's time, only Egyptian, the omelette. And Mummy's national insurance number is RE, and it ends with an A for alpha. Now, I was just about to read them out when I thought I'd say that. I've said it in print, in social media, but RE. So if your national insurance number begins with an R for radio, U for uniform, K for kilo, Z for Zulu, C for Charlie or cloud, C for C, G for golf, V for very, D for David, B for Bravo, J for July, F for Foxtrot, Friday, S for Sierra. Then you are a capital city person, and each one of those capitals of those beginnings is specific to specific countries, and the letters immediately following tell you which country you are of by blood, however it came about. Someone's moved 100 years ago and no one's told you, or you were born through the spirit of the creator, through to human parents, but the creator did it through the Holy Spirit, and you are who you are. So Mummy is capital city. My papa, Gaius Julius Caesare Caesar, which means king, and he, in his time, of course, the said king of all Italy, of Kyalo E, and he's IE. I missed I. Terrible. I missed my own. Oh dear. Anyway, I is the one I miss. I for India is the missing capital city national insurance number. IE, IA, followed by IA, which is Gaius Marcus Antonius, also my papa. Miracles do happen. Don't say the creator can do anything and then start telling him each other, yes, he can do anything, but he can't do this stuff like that. If God wants to give you a parent Pia, a parent also from an earlier, much earlier time, then the creator's done that. Now, the native peoples, purples of the North dukedoms of original kingdoms are beginning, I hope I haven't missed any, national insurance numbers T. T for Tommy, T for Tuesday, O for orange, X for X-ray, A for apple, alpha, H for hotel, high, hero, N for November. I don't think I've missed any, but there are fewer of the North country dukedom natives. I'm NE, November Echo, so I'm a North country native, even though I was born in London. And N, no one in Africa who is by blood of Kyalo through their dad is N. For those still stressing over it, I'm NE. I really am English. I'm not saying it just because I was born here and I've been brought up here. I am the song. Gazi. I am English. And X, the elves are the first dukedoms of each original kingdom's north, always natively of the northeast, wherever their current kingdoms, like the Xhosa living in the south, and the south dukedom peoples often living in the north, and things like that, which is a product of history. But just to Excuerdo explained that the Xhosa original homeland is Pa Labora, or Pa'alabor, or Pa'alabora. However we're saying it, it's Pa'alabora, Pa'alabora, but it's they're the elves of Kyalo Co, of what is now called South Africa. H is the XE, that is. So the TE, they are Tanis, the first North Dukedom people of Kyalo Kutisi, Malta, Egypt. The South Dukedom peoples, there are fewer national insurance number beginnings here, but they are the Q for Q, Q for Quebec, M for mother, L for London, Lima, W for wisdom, W for whiskey. But the South Dukedom, if your national insurance number begins with a Q, an M for mother, an L for Lima, London, or W, whiskey, then you are natively, wherever you live, a South Dukedom person of an original kingdom. And referring to the capital city people, and the Langue Pro Forma order is the senior is the original capital city people of original kingdoms, and followed by the North Dukedoms, starting with the elves in the northeast. Sometimes we appear magical, especially if you're looking through as allowed to see more ethereal elves. Other time we look regular humans like everybody else. Of course, there are elves, there are pixies, there are imps. They're all North Dukedom persons by dukedom. And my papa is NE. The Dukes of Northumberland are, of course, NE, the November Echo, and all the Northumberland people are NE, NEA, NEB. That's the that's the pro forma of how the boroughs, the royal families, capital. J in England is JE, followed by the JEA, followed by the JEB. And this RA is the second borough of Alexandra. In England, it's JA, which is Tower Hamlets. And so knowing that ZE is a Zulu royal family, whereas ZUE is Mozambique's said royal family, and ZUNE, Zulu Uniform November Echo, is Denmark's said royal family. Australia comes before Europe because part of Asia. Then royal family, their said royal family, of course native, are ZUFE, Zulu Uniform Foxtrot Echo. Not everyone who is original capital city is, or North or South Dukedom is the same, because everywhere in the world under the Creator is, in creation rather, is a pyramid. So there's someone at the top of each original kingdom. In Kyalo, South Africa, it's not so clearly understood. From what people have been saying and commenting, it's the Zulu are the original capital city people of Kyalo, which is today called South Africa, and original kingdoms are always unitary. Temporary pro forma has given lots of boroughs called tribes extra pro forma power in recent centuries, but originally it was clearer to people. There's the capital, the Zulu, followed by the North Dukedom people, starting with the Sikal family, and the South Dukedom peoples. I hope I've got it right. The beginning with the Pedi, the QUJE people. Some people are A. The SPSL, our national insurance numbers end with an A for alpha, followed by B ending people, followed by C ending people, down to Z ending people. Where we will fit is decided by the Creator, by the heavens. So we can't actually alter our birth order. And some families only can take certain positions in governments. It's still by family, even if it doesn't look like it because grew up in a different social situation, maybe very poor, maybe had to fight for everything in life, but it's the national insurance number. If anyone's ever heard, you won't get far in that department, not with that number, or words to that effect, and maybe infuriatingly didn't explain further. You just felt rejected. Oh, my number, not my family, and they didn't explain. They're talking about your family by national insurance number. So you can be a duke's son or daughter, and you can't be Homeland Security. You can't be Home Secretary because you're not RA. You're not ZA. You're not or one of those like them, ZA, XA. But you and to be president in a republic that thinks it's fighting monarchy, you can only be president if your national insurance number is that of the royal family. Let me have a look. Unless your country's under a colonial authority, but if you're just you, if your country is not under colonial authority, which alters which person can be president, but the very fact, usually in most of the world today, that you're president is because you're capital city of that country. In other words, you're royal, or you wouldn't be there. Changes things a little, doesn't it? Yeah, perception. Everyone's been deceived. Because if you weren't told this by your family or by joining a fraternity or a sorority or another secret society or talking about these things, teaching you these things, then very few people ended up being taught thoroughly. So the whole of the upheavals in Europe of the 19th century, we've got to have democracy, different people, all it meant was that people who were, say, ducal tower hamlets, but couldn't live the life of a duke and considered nobody because living in the East End, which makes no sense because the East End is the original royal capital and royal boroughs of England. East End does matter. What it's done is lots of people have come through being Home Secretary the last 100 years, and they're all JA or NA or WA. I think it's restricted by family, your blood family, whoever you may think you are. And it is worth knowing that before wasting time trying to be Home Secretary when you're none of those national insurance numbers. If someone says to you, you can't, words like you can't, but your friends could because they're JA and you didn't know. Yeah, but you're not, you're JB. So you could be governor of the Bank of England, but you can't be Home Secretary and things like that. It's still what some may call Dark Ages, medieval, because it's Langue Pro Forma that can't be fought against. And Europe is currently wasting a lot of energy trying to destroy Russia. But Russia is Europe's head. It's the start of Europe. It's Europe's capital. So your attempts, those of you who are spending all your time trying to undermine, trying to ruin, accusing them of doing what you've been doing, which is... We're getting into politics here. But the attempts to blame Putin for the weather, for the buses turning up late, for shortage of books in primary schools, I mean, everything, anything. People aren't perfect, but this madness of he can only be president because he's the late said king of Tsar of Russia's, who's just passed away in November, Tsar Andreevich Romanov, RUBE, SPSL, and National Insurance Number A, of course, because he's his cousin. You can only be president, usually, unless your country's under a domination of another kingdom. You have to. The fact that you're the president means you're either the king, or you're the shadow king, or you're the pseudo king, or their heirs. But that's it. Everyone is being lied. So you could be a duke's daughter and WA. That could get you into the home secretary role, quite possibly. But president? I mean, these islands aren't under presidency, but it means just that. Only royals can be presidents in official republics. The law of the long has not changed on lots of things. The government office is by certain families only. So it is not that you're not, and by certain members of those families only, male or female, but you have to have certain parents. The said duke or the shadow duke or the Excuerdo duke and of their squares. Their main husband wife, that is, and only SPSL, only the Royaume and only the SPSL, I believe, can become Home Secretary. Homeland Security in a kingdom, it can vary if the kingdom's a kingdom, functioning still as a kingdom. It can vary a little, I think, or not actually. In truth. So, check your national insurance number, check its ending. Because if it doesn't end with A, you're going to be restricted as to what you can do in government. You'll never make the cabinet. Not because you're a bad person, but because by family, the law of the long says you can't. And to attempt to delela, to overthrow the law of the long is to invite extreme weather, illness, because it's a bad thing. And the result of the bad thing is all those terrible things that nobody likes, obviously. So if you want to heed this, heaven's power to you, because fighting your head, Pan-Africanism that excludes Egypt, this is just weird because Egypt is Kyalo's head. Doesn't matter if some people in Egypt think that they're nothing to do with the rest of Africa. There's history behind that of people wanting to delela them. Once people get into delela because they've chosen BA, they end up trying to overturn their own kings, the kings above their kings, and eventually, or some at the beginning, their head, which in Kyalo, Africa's case, is Egypt. And so a reaction to that is a sort of emotional cutting, not cutting off altogether, but a strange separation has happened as they try to protect themselves from those Africans, which is no means is ever was everybody. But for those who are willing to hurt them, they pull back. And now it's got confused in the lack of everybody being taught their long story clearly and being taught Royaume clearly. And the same in Europe. You want peace in Europe while spending your days trying to undermine and destroy Russia. What for? So for someone who hasn't got Fie Rus, for someone who isn't Fie Russia, well, you want a compliant president. But to try doing that is delela. It's a Zulu word, it's a Tuko word. It means horrible, in this usage of the word, it's a horrible upturning and destruction of all that everybody needs. That's all that's going to come, and that's all that's been coming. Cold War is so far over. Stop using that as an excuse. You can't fight even for justice for anybody by delela against Langue Pro Forma. It pings back immediately and it does destruct for those who are indulging in it. So don't stop. Stop encouraging people to, because then you are an accessory after the fact, aren't you? Because you're encouraging someone to do the wrong thing. Just because you're not the MEP or the MP doesn't mean that you're not partly responsible if you're encouraging it somehow, even through green. Yeah. So, take notice of the Langue Pro Forma order. It's the capital city, then the North Dukedoms, the capital city starting with the royal family and the royal borough, and then all the other boroughs of the original capital city, then the dukedoms of the north, then the dukedoms of the south. who are different to the capital city, even though the original capital city is based always originally in the southeast of each original kingdom. It's good to know these things because a lot of wars are actually about all of this. Temporary pro forma that gives the south power over the north or even over parts of the capital city is actually all over. The north domination of their kingdoms is over. You've got a bit of a boost because I'm a North Judean native and I'm the Cleopatra, the reigning Cleopatra and the Lady of the Lake of the ages, the Cleopatra of the ninth and the Cleopatra of the ages, which also gives England an extra boost that we wouldn't already have, which then gives the British Isles, Kyalo an extra boost, and it gives Europe an extra boost when you'd expect it to be completely back to normal. We have an extra amount of pro forma power, but we are in a times of originals, and the original pro forma of the world is Africa. It's Kyalo, first, highest, not first rudimentary basics and everybody built wonders on top. No, Kyalo taught the world. Everything was revealed to Kyalo first. Kyalo built everything first and taught the world. Now, the original pro forma order of Kyalo, of Africa, is Egypt at the head. Not Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria. No. It's Kyalo Tutusi. Embo Ku. Embo Nku. Depending on how referring to. Then it's the Middle East. You can't have the Middle East without Judah. Original pro forma, it's Kyalo Jew at the head of the Middle East. Not Saudi Arabia, not Oman, not Persia. It's Judah. It's the kingdom of Judah. Politics is today is referred to as it's a republic and nation state of Israel, but that land. Currently, the long pro forma is there covering all the other nations of kingdoms, original kingdoms of the Middle East, but we are in a time of originals, and what's prevented the re-establishment of all of their kingdoms, today called as one the Palestinians, but they are 9 kingdoms after Judah before we get to Lebanon and Afghanistan. So what's prevented it is people using BA. Trying to establish Israel has delayed everything. So if you care about yourself as a Palestinian person and you want the kingdom of Ammon, the kingdom of Moab, of Midian, of restored, all of those 9 kingdoms restored, just like Israel's been re-established, then you need to stop fighting Israel because you're fighting the regional long pro forma, the original. Judah was the first kingdom established in that area ever. The same as China was the first kingdom in Asia established ever, as the children of the first 2 humans spread out across the world. So what delays the reorganizing rebirth of the Palestinian kingdoms, 9 of them there are, after Judah, is the fight against Judah. So if you want peace in the region, whether because you live there and you are Palestinian or you are Hebrew and you live there, or you're family to, or you're a supporter of, if you really want to help, support the kingdom of Israel. That's how, because that's how heaven works. And it's how long pro forma works, and how long have you battered against the existence of Israel and suffered? Because you're doing Delela, you're fighting long pro forma. And I know the Middle East is a much more God-minded, creator-minded area of the world than Europe, as some of you know, but not enough faithfully been taught what the delay is. Because it should have been back. Moab could have been on the way, started 2 years ago, at least. In pro forma order time, they're all due to come back. And what surely you really want is the rebirth of your kingdoms to be as smooth and pleasant as possible. For that, you need to accept that Judah was established first, is the first of the 10 kingdoms of what is now called Israel. Their pro forma is covering those kingdoms temporarily. They are all due to be there together. Judah, Israel, yeah, then Canaan, that all those kingdoms, the kingdom of Judah, the kingdom of Canaan, followed by the kingdom of Canaan, then the kingdom of Aram, then the kingdom of Amor, then the kingdom of Moab, then the kingdom of Ammon, then the kingdom of Edom, then the kingdom of Midian, then the kingdom of Amalek, then the kingdom of Philistia. The kingdom of Lebanon is due to be reestablished, and the kingdom of Afghanistan. Well, Afghanistan's there, and semi-kingdom as functioning as a kingdom. And good luck to them with that, because royal rule ends poverty on the way to the Excuerdo prophecy. You want end times prophecy to happen as pleasantly, as smoothly as possible. You need to support monarchy. There's a lot more I could say on this subject and the problems people are making by fighting monarchy, by fighting Langue Pro Forma. If Europe wants trouble, all it's got to do is keep fighting Russia. The only way to, if you say Putin's not the Tsar, sure, he's not the said Tsar of the parent generation, which he is, but he is the Excuerdo. I think he's either the shadow or the Excuerdo Duke. So, the said Duke of the parent had passed away last November. Prince Alexei Andreevich Romanov is now the said Tsar. Uncrowned doesn't change whether a person is the said king or not. It's the formal recognition is better, but who they are is just who they are and can't be changed. And kingship comes in threes. There's always the hierarchy. Remember, the world's a pyramid upon pyramid upon pyramid, and within pyramids, there's always the said king, followed by the shadow king, followed by the Excuerdo king. And the same is true for each original dukedom. The said duke, shadow, Excuerdo. And they're always cousins. So in order to be president, you have to be the son or daughter of one of them.